Hello everyone, welcome to the latest edition of our GC People Leader series. My guest today is Darren Fell, founder, chief exec of Crunch. Crunch is leading a revolution in online accounting services. Welcome, Darren.
Thank you.
Now, you completed the GC Index. Thank you for doing that.
I did.
You have a very strong game changer, polisher profile. Yes. Not unusual in business founders. But tell us, is it a profile that makes sense to you?
It makes utter sense to me, and I've done, as we spoke about earlier, all of these psychometric tests, and some of them have been amazing and some of them have been revealing, but there's been nothing that has revealed this to me, because I've been trying to make sense of myself, why I think such big ideas and have to go after them. And it also makes so much sense in why I stick with ideas, and I tend to do one idea at a time and go after each little component and keep tuning and tuning and tuning to create this amazing
before
thing.
We get into Crunch and think about how these proclivities have shaped your success and your approach to leadership, just give us a taster of early life creativity, because you were describing to me earlier how you probably recognised earlier on that you might think a little bit differently to many folk around you.
Yeah, I've thought back to this, and where all my mates were playing football out on the rec, or scooting up and down on their bikes. I was in there with the soldering iron, doing electronics, and I remember creating a pressure pad for my room, so alarms would go off if my mum and dad, or worse still, my sister, came into my room.
And now this is at what age?
I think I must have been 8, 9, 10, somewhere that sort of area.
So consistent with game changers, there were possibilities that you wanted to play with.
Absolutely, I wanted to create, and I think that's been the underlying thing with me. I just love creating stuff. But I've always wondered if it was an obsession that I had to have every single day with some creative thing done. But yeah, I remember from a very, very early age that I had to create all of these things.
So these qualities of imagination and obsession make sense to you? They're part of your life, part of your makeup?
Yeah, exactly. But no one's actually been able to explain it really.
You founded Crunch 12 years ago.
Yeah.
Why?
I'd had enough in sort of 99, 2000 of corporate world that didn't understand or didn't embrace creativity, where I had to just deliver stuff, and strategies would come up. They came up with from the top and fed down. So I had to go and do my own thing.
So and we see this again and again, that need for the freedom to be creative.
Yeah.
And if you feel stifled, what happens?
It's horrendous. If I can't be creative, I saw myself close up, and and I think across all of the years when it has happened to me, I've created a mini startup on the side. Although my normal role is one startup at a time.
We'll come on to this when we think of leadership, because obviously that powerful drive will have shaped your approach to leadership, but the Crunch thing, it's more than just accountancy services for you, isn't it?
Coming onto Crunch, I wanted to do something bigger, bolder, to really help people to create business, but not get into that woeful state where they're super stressed about the fact they haven't done their tax, they haven't done their accounts, they don't know where they're at, they just want to be good at what they want to be good at. So in that era of 2007, 2008, started to work completely in tandem, building up Crunch an online accountancy service that would completely solve all of the problems for that micro business owner, that freelancer, that contractor, that consultant, with an online system that enabled them to invoice, to record expenses, to snap receipts, and it automatically go into the system to tell them their tax, how much tax to put aside.
Crunch has changed people's lives.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so. It was the most interesting component was putting service with the software. So putting the accountant on the end of email, on the end of a phone, on the end of a video system via our app to answer all the questions, but to do the whole piece. So we see today still endless pieces of software that do invoicing and expensing and promise to solve all your accounting woes, but they're very complicated. They're designed for an accountant. I wanted to combine the software and the accountant and an account manager for a market-beating price of £60 a month.
When we think of your profile, the Game Changer Polisher profile, distill some of your description there. What's underpinned your success, do you think, when you think of that game changer in you and you think of that polisher in your nature?
It's this it's almost obsessive need to go and do that thing, so at all costs. And that's what I've always, that was ticking away in the back of my head, all costs. But the cost was often me, my cost to my mental well-being. So I agreed with the board of Pure 360 to sell, and I took a £700,000 discount. It's a ridiculous amount of money just to walk away with £1 million in cash, so I could put all the money on the table, or a lot of the money on the table, to make this dream happen and go and disrupt what I always termed then a dusty, boring old world of accountancy.
And just thinking about you as CEO, give us a flavour of that, because my understanding is that's not a role that's always sat comfortably with you.
No. So I think I was like trying to paint the picture. So in that era, there, if you can imagine this untenable nature. Also, my investors all backed out. Rather, the partners backed out. So I had to fund the whole thing. So the stress levels on putting this together in the early days were massive. I don't think I was sleeping that much. I've slept more since having 2 babies than I ever slept then. So my style was utterly full on.
Yes.
Utterly full on in the early days, because I had everything was in. Everything was in. Every penny was used up, and I had to go for it. So I think I would have been harder work, and I had Justine, who was the operations director, my right-hand woman, and she was the implementer, and she is amazing at doing this. She put the most difficult things together, so she had to deal with me, but with a stress level a little bit higher, but not an oppressive stress level. So I think it was that whole era there was just utterly full on until about, I think, 3 years in, I had to have a sabbatical and have a bit of a break.
Gosh, so what would it have been like working for you, working with you?
I think for me it was you weren't just putting a brave face on it. I was excited about what we were doing. We had a mission to help all these people that had got themselves into pickles with their accounting. It was to enable people to do what they were brilliant at and not worry about their accounting. So the big mission was exciting to the whole team. So yes. I was espousing this mission. It was on this startup fever that we were changing things out there. At the same time, this was very difficult for accountants to stomach, that we were coming out, they were getting away with, for a very simple set of accounts, £2,500 a year, and we were coming out at £750.
So in those early days, your leadership is built around, here's the mission, here's the vision.
Yeah.
I've got energy for this. You want people with you who've got that same energy, presumably, and you're going to change some things.
Yeah, exactly.
In your world.
Yeah.
And has it changed over time? How has it over the 12 years?
It's changed massively. So thanks for putting that into. I'm trying to paint the picture for everybody, because it's you know, you're taking me back to that time, and it was exciting. So I was living off this massive energy.
Although it feels like there's a fine line between excitement and feeling overwhelmed.
Well, no, definitely there was an overwhelmed, but you know, and I think I solved that. But I think my leadership style there was an excited entrepreneur style of CEO. And over the years, I've learned so much with coaching, and more recently over the last 2 years, like wellness, things like meditating, using transcendental meditation, to come at everything so much at a calmer level, rather than getting obsessed with each little component part, which relates back to my polishing.
And the value of that, I can see the value of that for you, but for folk around you, why is that been important?
That has been so important,
you
because
sort of managing your obsessive.
As you experienced, like as you started asking me questions, I start getting really excited. I would come into meetings and I'd be tangential on a subject, and don't worry about that. Let's solve it this way, and it would be so out of the world different thinking that you would see written across all the faces, like, what is this guy talking about? So over the years, I've learned masses about myself, and my personal coach would say, imagine that pedal, the accelerator pedal.
That's lovely.
Be careful with that, and that. I always pin things back to the visuals, so I'm very, very careful now. So the evolution to my leadership style has been massive.
So her sort of coaching message would be, it's all very well having these great ideas, but if you aren't connecting, then you're going to have a problem.
Yeah. But also delivering it in a gentle way. So don't expect people, even if I do it pictorially, which helps me, and get it all whiteboarded out, they're going to get that in half an hour. They are not. So bit by bit, I'm very, very careful to deliver it and work with people. So jumping right to today, having learned so many lessons about having exec layers and thinking that other people could far better run the business than I have put what is an amazing leadership team of every component into a circle. They work collegiately. And
returning to the theme of freedom and creativity, that's freed you up to do what?
That's freed me up to also feel better about the CEO role as well, in the fact that I can't possibly properly manage 9 people. I can coach them, and that coaching style seems to be working absolutely brilliantly, because I trust. Our team is stunning at all of the aspects that they have the skill sets, from engineering, like managing a big set of programmers is hard work. An infrastructure expert that's used to Amazon Web Services, all the way around to a people manager, a strategic people manager. These people are brilliant. So when there was other layers there, they were impeded from showing their true capabilities, and I recognised how good they are. So now there's no barriers at all. They can be as fantastic as they actually are. I can put them on any specific training courses they need, and they can deal with problems themselves without having to fire questions up the line into an exec void and not have an answer back forever or ever, which I saw. It killed growth. Adding these other layers in there, we've removed those layers, and the growth has kicked back in, and the excitement's kicked back in.
We may want to do a follow-up on that theme, because my guess is our audience will be intrigued by that approach to managing your structure.
It's utterly unique
within the business.
I mean, there's many different styles of you look out there of working and having that full autonomy. It's almost, but I can, with all of the skill sets that I've learned and 20 years of building up these businesses, is like, well, you could do with this, and why don't you do that, and tell me the churn figure. Well, why don't I help invest in a new help system for you, so the clients don't keep calling in complaining to the account manager. They can read about this, all the things they need to know about on this amazing new help system. So I can dive in and point things out, and then you get nice commentary back going, oh, it's fantastic, we feel we're getting investment into our section.
This is you at your best, isn't it? You see things, you see possibilities, and you need the freedom to see possibilities, but also to have folk around you who are able to understand and value what you bring in that regard. We're going to draw to a close. There's so much we could talk about. One sort of final question that interests me, because I mean, folk like you often get tagged with the label of entrepreneur, and we often associate entrepreneurs with people who like to make money. Where does money come in your hierarchy of needs?
It's the least important thing, really. The main thing has to be the creative output, has to be about changing something out there and about genuinely helping people. Otherwise, I wouldn't have a community of 30,000 self-employed people. So Crunch, I took all of that risk. At the right point, once we'd launched Crunch, I got Michael Van Schvee, who set up eBay Europe. He's been our chairman for the last 5-6 years. And the end result, the side effect. Side effect is money, not the lead.
Exactly.
Not the lead, it can't be.
Good. Darren, thanks very much for your time today.
No problem at all. Thanks so much for coming down.